There are 2.3 million prisoners behind bars in the U.S., costing the government about $55 billion a year. The privately owned prison industry carries about 10% of that burden. And today we're taking you behind the scenes to reveal the top 5 secrets of the for-profit prison industry. Private prisons are growing like wildfire. The prison industry grew 1,600% between 1990 and 2010.
Far outstripping the rate of growth both of public prison facilities and more generally the U.S. population.
The industry has also grown in profits. Privately run prisons rake in about $3 billion a year. And with only 10% market saturation, there's a lot of room for growth, particularly in certain sectors. Undocumented immigrants are big business. 50% of all immigrant detention centers are privately run. It's a $1.7 billion industry annually.
This is considered the segment of the industry that's most prone to growth over the next decade or so.
The two companies seeing the majority of this profit, Corrections Corporation of America and the Yahoo Group. Corrections Corporation of America, or CCA, is the largest private prison company in the U.S. with 67 facilities and $1.7 billion in annual revenues. CCA makes up about 44% of the market. The Yahoo Group is an international correctional services company with $1.6 billion in annual revenue. It holds about 30% market share.
What's fascinating is that these two companies alone constitute about 75% of the entire, quote, private prisons market. And so often the two companies will make claims that competition ends up bringing efficiency and efficacy into the marketplace and into their services, but unfortunately what they're actually doing is creating a duopoly.
These companies aren't even classified as correctional facilitators. Instead, they consider themselves real estate companies, or REITs.
Both of these companies made the transition this past year in order to free up some cash on hand to encourage folk to invest in their companies, of course, and to limit their corporate tax liability.
Because they're REITs, these companies that derive about 40% of their revenue from the federal government are actually now exempt from paying federal taxes. And they're not just making money from the government. A few have profited by contracting inmates to private firms like Victoria's Secret and more.
Some of those firms were McDonald's, Texas Instruments, Boeing, Victoria's Secret, Starbucks, to name a few.
For Yahoo Finance, I'm Lauren Lister.